Ollie Bearman.
Not just our driver of the day, voted for by everyone else. One of the most incredible weekends. So let's have a clap for the one and only youngest Ferrari driver ever, Ollie Bearman.
I feel like he's exceeded expectations, mate.
P7. Points on your debut. There is so much to talk about Ollie Bearman's first race.
Qualified 11th, mate. He gained 4 positions. Unbelievable stuff.
There's little bits and bobs, like the fact that it was such a longer race than he's even used to.
Mate, the odds were stacked against him.
Yeah.
Not only was it, 50 odd laps around a circuit that he's never driven before in an F1 car, it's Saudi Arabia. It's like one of the hardest circuits on the grid. He stayed out of trouble, but he put himself in the lion's pit. Bearman could have very easily just held back, gone about his day, doesn't want to wreck the car. Smashed it.
Yeah,
P7.
Didn't lose anything, did he? Amazing weekend for Ollie. The listeners know that we speak about Ollie, and we have been for years throughout his F2 career and everything. He's shown what he can do. A bit like Lawson. Lawson came in, shown what he could do. And these are the drivers that next year, when there's 14 seats come up, they're going to be the ones that are going to be at the front of the door saying, look, come on, especially Haas. About time,
because we have gone far too long with the same drivers on the grid. I know we had Sargent come in, but apart from that, there's a lot of F2 drivers out there who deserve the seat. We've had Teo Porcher on the podcast, one F2, hasn't got a seat. Felipe Dragovic, as we know, he's follows the circus every weekend because he has to be there as a reserve driver for Aston, but he doesn't get to go out and drive an Aston Martin car.
That's the thing. Ollie Bearman could have got a podium this weekend and it wouldn't have made any difference. Like, he still wouldn't be in an F1 car next week. The only thing I am thinking is if one of the Haas drivers really performs poorly, that could potentially be a mid-season driver swap. They could maybe bring Bearman in. I think Bearman 100% will be Haas next year. We've seen him in the paddock already with his Haas gear on, wandering around.
Yeah.
Like, that looks pretty set in stone.
I think he deserves a better car than a Haas.
But where, though? He doesn't need the fastest car straight away.
If Toto decided to offer him a Mercedes seat, if you were Bearman, you would take it. Did you see him in the post-race interview when he was talking about who he looked up to as a kid? Yeah. And he's like naming Lewis Hamilton, and then at the end he's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Because maybe he's with Ferrari,
Yeah, maybe before we would have thought, maybe Ferrari reserve driver couldn't make the swap, but we also would have thought a Mercedes driver, Lewis, wouldn't have gone to Ferrari. Yeah. So imagine. I mean, he's good enough to be an F1. So's Lawson. They're both great. Let's not take Lawson out of the conversation. He did amazing when he came in as well.
True, but there's something about Bearman which we've realised when we had him in the flat, this time last year. He's not only is he a superb driver, but he has that glow to him. He has that energy, that vibe to him. He's a likeable guy. You look at him on TV, he's got a big smile on his face.
He never
he's
stopped
happy
smiling.
To be here.
The cameras loved him, didn't they?
They did.
Ollie Bearman was officially the main thing of the second race.
And talking about cameras as well, mate, you know for damn sure that next year's Drive to Survive is going to be there's going to be a whole episode on Bearman.
My favourite interview was one of his first ones where he's on the Skypad and he was staring down the camera.
Staring down the camera. Commiserations to obviously Carlos as well, but he was back in the garage. He was watching the race, so who knows? We got Australia in couple of weeks now.
Yeah, they were saying he might not drive, but I've had appendicitis. I had mine out, and you said I wasn't in the strain of a car. I know,
mate, you weren't pulling like it tens of G's around a corner of a car.
It's not really one of them kind of. Once they stitch it back up, it's not too bad really.
Yeah, but it's
weeps a little bit.
Core muscle. Muscle. It's like all your strength is your core. If he's got to go around a corner and strain,
if he's back in the paddock,
you couldn't even pick up a bag of crisps when you had your operation.
Yeah, but if he's back in the paddock the next day, he can't be that bad.
Let's see. If he's not fully fit, he won't be able to go out.
Well, you were saying before the race, did they put some dodgy food in Carlos Sainz's plate? Because look, he outperformed Leclerc in the first race. Were they thinking, well,
he could have very easily outperformed him at Saudi, mate.
So let's put a youth driver in.
The other funny thing about Bearman is that he has more points than Logan Sargent.
Expected, maybe? He went out in a Ferrari?
Yeah, it's just kind of funny, isn't it? I mean, poor Logan. The good thing is that he didn't crash. So a round of applause.
No, we can't clap Logan for. All right, we'll clap Logan for that. We'll clap him for not crashing. Fine.
I feel like that's a result.
It is a result for Williams. Driver of the day.
Logan. He should have definitely got driver of the day. That's for sure.